everybody, and welcome to the Jump Podcast. If this is your first time, welcome. Now, I always say the same thing, and I'm going to say it again. Where have you been all this time? You've been missing out on some great episodes. But don't worry, I brought another fantastic person here for you. Now, on Jump, I keep telling you, jump for it, go for it. And I'm not talking about jumping up and down. I'm talking about jump into greatness. Success is waiting for you. Be the person you got to be. But then I realize maybe you need help. Maybe you need somebody that we can talk to that's helped other people to get to that next level. And I believe I brought you the person that is here today. So let's get it on. Let's go with my special guest, Zachary. How you doing?
Excellent, Charles.
It's so great to have you, my friend.
Thank you.
So real question right off the bat. Where are you calling in from? Where part of the world are you calling in from?
My wife and I are in Montenegro at the moment.
Oh, nice. So it's just a little fun, little vacations. Where do you guys go? What do you guys do?
We are traveling the world for 2 years. So we're doing a month in a new city every month. So working and exploring on the road.
Man, listen, you're living a dream right now. How did this come about? Like, I know we're going off topic right off the bat, but I'm like, this is so fantastic. How do you just decide we're going to take it and go for it?
Yeah, so I've lived in the same city, San Diego, California, for 36 years. My wife and I got married last year and decided it was a perfect time of our life to go out and travel and explore and figure out where we wanted to settle down and find home.
This is the this is the best real estate plot I've ever seen in my life, man. Just go different places, check it out. Hey, do you like this supermarket? No, I don't really like. Okay, let's move on to another place. Hey, do you like this? Let's keep moving. So I love the ideas. But born and raised, you said it. Where are you from? Born and raised?
San Diego.
So the little boy in you growing up, what did you want to do? What did you want to become?
I think it changed every few years. So I don't remember what the exact first thing was. I think there was probably like a Goodwill Hunting, computer scientist, mathematician, and I got really interested in politics at a certain point. I think the one that held the longest when I was young was becoming an attorney or a lawyer. And thankfully, I had a family friend who was a business lawyer who convinced me to be the person that hires the lawyer versus the lawyer themselves.
Smart person. So when did the entrepreneur bug come about then? What age was that?
So I started my first company at 17. I think like I said, I got interested in politics, but I was tired of the broken promises and the lies that I saw. And I saw business as a place where it was more based on your word and based on my substance and the value that I could provide people. And that was much more attractive to me.
So on my form, I always ask everybody to get to know a little bit more better about, entrepreneurship and everything in business. Now you keep saying, work for yourself and being the 9 to 5 and all that stuff. Why so much about entrepreneurship?
Why? Can you say that in a different way?
Yeah. So I wanted to know, becoming, like you said, the person told you instead of being the lawyer, hire the lawyer. Everything you talk about is being your own boss. Tell everybody how great entrepreneurship really is.
I think that entrepreneurship is one of the most humbling journeys that I've ever experienced. I remember watching The Last Dance, the documentary on Michael Jordan, and he said something in that documentary that sports are a tool that teaches, and I think entrepreneurship is a tool that teaches. It's much more challenging than climbing the corporate ladder, but I think it's a game for me that I was more interested in playing. I didn't really like the politics and the backstabbing and some of the things that I saw in corporate America, and I was more interested in enjoying, adding value to other people and finding something that I enjoyed adding value around. And I think that the challenges that come with entrepreneurship cause an evolution for me as an individual that I really value. learning to not take things personally, looking to see things from other people's point of view, learning to listen, building the habits that I'm proud of. And then there's a lot of cons or challenges that come with it, but the pros of the freedom and abundance and
Yeah.
authenticity often outweigh the cons.
So basically, when that alarm goes off, you decide 10 more minutes or I'm late for work.
Yeah, or living without an alarm.
Hey, okay. I like that even better. So listen, everybody always says, entrepreneurship is so hard and I'm afraid to fail. Can you tell my listeners one opportunity that when you were 17 or any entrepreneurship that you started that you failed, but you learned from it? Can you give us a story?
Yeah, so the first company that I started was called Your Health Store. It was a vitamin and nutrition company, and we sold at farmers markets and swap meets and wherever we could sell. We were starting to build out a catalog and a website and opening up a storefront. And I was really excited about it. And that attorney that I mentioned earlier was doing our paperwork for the lease and partnership agreements and those type of things. And he's like, "What's your goal with this?" And I was like, "Well, I want to build a company that has an impact on the world." And he's like, "Well, it looks to me like you're creating a job for yourself." And and so if you really want to, do that, go learn business and then go work for a big company. And still to this day, I'm not sure if it was the best advice, but I did take that advice and stopped working with that company. And that company later shut down. And I think if I look back over the next 10 years, I experimented with 5 or 6 different startups before that I lost interest in quickly, or I was disillusioned about the reality of it pretty quickly. And then the company that I started for myself because it was something that I needed. It was adding value to me, and I didn't do it with the goal of making money, but just adding value to myself and to other people. And over time, it became a business.
Can we talk about the shiny gem in the room? Every time we start something, most people, they start a business and then they see another shiny gem and they leave what they started. Oh, this one will be better. Okay, I'll try this. And they see another shiny gem. Oh, I'll leave and go this business. A lot of entrepreneurs, they don't dive in full 100 because they see something else that might be a little bit easier or make more money faster. Like there's all these things on YouTube and TikTok, and we're seeing all the money makers. And hey, you just have to do this and you make $1 million. And then we jump ship. Can we talk about staying the course and staying the path?
Yeah, I think there's a paradox there. I think that shiny object syndrome gets harder and harder as the business grows or as we become more successful. There's more opportunities and more things. So like deciding that path and giving it a period of time to actually come to fruition. One of my friends who's a very successful entrepreneur says it this way: is plant your seed, water it, and watch it grow. And I
Mm-hmm.
think most people are more interested in planting the seed than watering it, and therefore it doesn't grow.
Yeah.
But if I look at some of the most successful startups, the idea that they started with was not the idea that they ended with, or it wasn't the big home run. There is some pivoting and iteration.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard it said that the key to massive success, or the key to success, is massive iteration. So I think the hard part about leadership and entrepreneurship is that there's not like a simple answer to questions. Usually there's a complexity of both ways could work, and somehow we have to see both sides of it and stand in that paradox and make good decisions.
So here it is. I'm going to ask you your opinion. This is just your opinion. When you go into business, by yourself or with a partner?
I think it depends on the person. I think it depends on the partner. I will say that 70 to 80% of the time, we run a mastermind for entrepreneurs. So entrepreneurs bring opportunities and problems to the table. And I think people that do have partnerships, which is most businesses or corporations, there's not really a partnership. It's, both people have equity in the business and there's some sort of relationship there, and I think the term business partner is like very sexy early on, but and I think there's something emotional around it of like feeling like there's a partner through that
Mhm.
journey. But I will say 70 to 80% of the time people have a business partner or, some sort of 50-50 relationship or some sort of equity relationship. That becomes a problem eventually in the business that needs to be worked through. So, I don't think there's a simple answer. I think it takes a great deal of awareness of like who I am, what my strengths are,
Okay.
and then if I can find someone that really supports those strengths, and depending on where the business is at, if there's no money coming in, then it's very difficult to pay people. So then, we have to pay them with equity, or, if we raise money, then we have investors, which could be partners in a way, right? Limited partners. So business is both simple in that the goal of it is to add value to another person and get paid for that value we add and build long-term relationships, but there's a lot of complexity around marketing and sales and product and strategy and HR and systems, and there's just a lot of different parts of business that can create some complexity, and it can be very challenging for one person to have the chops to set a vision and then execute that vision.
All right. So you said one thing that I want to jump on right away: value. How do you know what is your value when you come into the company and when you go into a partnership? You got to know your value and stick with your value. How do you set your goals?
You might have to ask me that question again. I think that this is such a good thing to jump on because I think that's the secret of entrepreneurship, is learning to add value to other people. My father had me working at a young age for him, for my neighbors. I was ambitious and I wanted money and resources to make decisions, and so I learned very young that in order to get that, I was going to have to add value to other people. And pretty quickly, I really enjoyed that experience. I enjoyed doing things that added value to other people. So I think that enjoying adding value to others is a competitive advantage.
Hmm.
And I think, sometimes people think that they're adding value, but the proof is always in the pudding, right? Like the results speak. And sometimes we have to do it for free a couple of times and learn how to get those results, develop those skills, learn how to capture the value, learn how to paper the deal, you know, for the lack of a better way of saying it, get screwed over a couple of times, and and then learn how, learn the right way to do it. I think that there are, having an attorney in your corner can help, but sometimes I've heard it said, like, if you want to start a business, the last person you should talk to is an attorney or a CPA. So I think there's there's a paradox to these things, and adding, I think there's certain things in a business that can really move the needle.
Hmm.
Marketing, good marketing is worth its weight in gold. Bad marketing is the most expensive thing. Sales is a really, I think, not easy way, but it's a simple way to get into a business and to
Okay.
control how much I make,
Hmm.
because it's very black or
One,
white whether
yeah.
the sale happened or not. It's
I
it's
sailed it. I made some money. I didn't sail it. I didn't make any money. It's you're on your own. It's basically one and two, right?
Yeah, and it's also one of those things that is very emotional, in that, or it can be very emotional because there's so much rejection. I think one of the things is school optimizes for getting 100% on a test, where sales optimizes for like getting 30% or 40%. Like the best salespeople in the world will sell 30 to 40% of the time at most. And so the emotional bravery and resilience and mindset that's attached to that is inherently valuable.
Right. So I want to jump back a couple of things here because I love what you said about sometimes you got to do it for free. Sometimes you got to just, show your value. Whatever happened to the barter system where we showed each other, here's something I can show you to make you better. Here's something you can show me to make better. Do you think the barter system will ever come back into business?
I think that the barter system does still exist in business, and in small way, in it's not a huge portion of the market, or of the amount of capital that's out there, but there's still businesses that trade with each other to do certain things. I think that money is probably a more efficient way to transact value with each other. But early on, people need to be creative on how they achieve their goals. And sometimes trading is more realistic, or there's more of an opportunity to trade with certain services or maybe even products than to extract money from someone. So I think it still happens.
There you go. All right, let's have some fun, my friend.
We're not having fun. This is
It's
fun.
You're the first person that always say that have just said that to me. Good point. We are having fun. Let's have a blast then. Let's go to the next level up. I like that. It's time for rapid fire. You get to choose your own questions, my friend. You get to choose A, B, C, or D. But here's the thing. I'm going to put 2 minutes on the clock. That means you can elaborate if you want to, but you got to get through all the questions within 2 minutes. So what questions do you want me to rapid fire at you? A, B, C, or D?
Do I get to see what A, B, C, and D are? No?
No, you gotta go for it. Just
All
like
right.
in business. You just gotta throw it up there.
D.
D. All right, here we go. 2 minutes starts on the clock when I ask the first question. What is your most memorable year?
I think this year has been my most memorable year. Getting outside of my comfort zone. Been to 20 countries so far this year, and I've learned a lot about myself. I've evolved a lot, got closer connected to my wife, and also grew my business, dialed in investments, building my health. So it's been a really exceptional year.
There you go. How do you can tell if someone's a nerd?
I'm a nerd, so I think it's I think we can sometimes recognize that in each other. I think I don't there's a saying that I like, which is small minds talk about other people, normal minds talk about events, and great minds talk about ideas. And I think nerds are probably really interested in ideas.
There you go. Favorite TV show?
Ooh, that's a good question. I like The Newsroom.
Yeah. Favorite celebrity crush?
Ooh, that's probably evolved over time, but I always liked who's the woman that Michael Douglas married? Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Okay. Yeah. All right. If you won $1 million right now today, what would you do with it?
I'd invest it.
What is the worst piece of advice you've ever gotten?
Probably like that find what you would do if you had $1 million, like basically what you're passionate about or what your purpose is if you had $1 million or $1 billion, like what would you do every day? I think that's bad advice. I think it's passion is what you're willing to suffer for.
Okay, real quick, your biggest fan?
My wife, my mother.
Your dream career?
I think I'm living my dream career, but revolutionizing the education system to create peer-to-peer and peer-to-mentor learning.
And the last question, the first thing you do in the morning?
Take creatine.
So you're a health kick. You get up, you work out. What is it all about the creatine in the morning?
Oh, no, just get some nutrition in early on. Creatine's good for the muscles and the brain. And then I'll usually read something. Og Mandino is like an author that's written some really interesting books, and I'll read one of his scrolls most mornings, and then I'll try to get to work right away, or if I need to do some yoga, and then I usually work out in the afternoon.
All right. When I asked you about the $1 million, you say you would invest. What's investment look like for you today? What would you invest in?
Yeah, I'm really bullish on Bitcoin. I also like to invest in things that pay me monthly. So I have a few different vehicles that I invest in to earn interest or dividends on a regular basis.
Love that. So talking about business, talking about other business, talk about your business. Why did you start your business to help others be entrepreneurs and, doing all this stuff that you're doing now? Talk about your business.
Yeah, so I graduated college, and in college, I organized a number of speaker events where I would bring in an entrepreneur or an executive or an investor to speak to students. And it created a lot of opportunities for me. That's actually how I got my first job out of college. So I always recommend people take on leadership roles within organizations. Those people tend to get all of the opportunities. And then after college, I continued to organize speaker events both within the company I was working as well as outside of that company. And after about 100 speaker events that I organized, I started getting less and less value from the speakers and more value from the peer-to-peer exchange, just talking with other people that were there about what was working in their life, what was not working, supporting each other around that. It was very meaningful. And so after college, college is such an interesting place because it's not just about what we learn from the professor. It's about the relationships there, the community, the experiences, the ecosystem. There's just so much going on. And when I left college, there was something missing. And it was that space to build relationships, to continue to learn. And so I was reading Benjamin Franklin's autobiography, and he talked about Junto and a group that he started in his early 20s that he called a club for mutual improvement, where he brought together industrious people to have roundtable conversations around business and philosophy and science and technology. And so I was inspired by that idea and invited some people that I respected to that conversation. And it had a huge impact on the people that were involved. And eventually it became my business and my passion.
So then let me ask you this question. What is success to you?
I think success evolves over time. I love the idea that, like, there's thousands of different ways to express success, but only one way to to express failure. um, so I value being able to wake up in the morning excited for what I have to do, and struggle, like having the discipline to struggle through the challenges and have the freedom and resources to live a life that I enjoy.
They're fantastic. All right, let's go. Let's go. Before we end it up,
Now time for victory!
it's now time for pick three, my friend. Before we let you go, this has been a fantastic interview. You get to ask your last three questions before we let you go today.
Hmm.
So I need three numbers between 1 and 10. Give me three numbers between 1 and 10.
3, 7, and 10.
3, 7, and 10. All right, here we go. Love this one. This must be one of my favorite questions to ask. I'm glad you asked this one because I want to see what your answer is going to be. Number 3, if you could follow somebody for 48 hours, past or present, who would it be and why?
Probably Benjamin Franklin.
Okay, did not see that one coming. Explain why. Why would you follow Benjamin Franklin for 48 hours? Just follow.
Yeah, well, I think Benjamin Franklin is a man of contradictions. I love his quote that, everything in moderation, including moderation. um, so I think he had a pretty fun life. He also had a successful life, and he had a huge impact on the world, and did a variety of different things. Traveled, loved, and had children. So I think he had it all. I would have liked to have supported him around his health a little bit.
There you go. All right. Give us books, courses that's helped you in your life. Something that someone of my fans and my listeners can go out and get right now to help them how it's helped you.
Yeah. So I will preface this in that I think reading the right book at the right time is so valuable. Getting the info, like I call it authentically relevant, like really figuring out what is the problem that if I solve makes everything else easier or unnecessary. Like that resource is so valuable. My friends call me a book sniper, and that I'm pretty good at getting to know someone and being like, hey, this is the book for you right now.
At
Or
this time.
yeah. So since I don't know exactly that, like the person listening, like where they're at, this might not be super great advice, but a book that really changed my life was Wild at Heart, which is a book about, moving from a boy to a man. It's actually why I go by Parker. And I think there's some great ideas in that book. I also like Augmentino. He wrote The Greatest Secret in the World, The Greatest Miracle in the World, The Greatest Salesman in the World, and has some really kind of profound advice or like profound wisdom that is more of a program of something that you would like read every day for, 10 months, like a long period of time to program that subconscious mind. The Benjamin, I like biographies too. So like I just read Benjamin Franklin's biography by Walter Isaacson, who also just wrote Elon Musk's biography and Da Vinci's biography. So I'd encourage someone, if there's someone that they look at the life that they'd want to have or the kind of the impact or success they had, to read a biography about that person.
Okay. Here's another question. Where can we find you?
I am active on most social medias with Zachary Parker Harris. So Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. On Twitter, I'm Zach Parker Harris, and I've been more active on Twitter recently as well.
And who is the best client for you?
Best client for me is entrepreneurs that have achieved a certain level of success, high 6 figures, early 7 figures, and are really committed to growing their business, in a profitable way with a good culture.
There you go. All right, sir, it's been an honor and pleasure. This has been fun. Thank you so much for joining us. But before you go, give us one piece of advice for an entrepreneur if they want to start something right now. They're scared to start. They're scared to jump. Give them one piece of advice.
Solve your own problem, like your own biggest problem. Solve that.
There you go. My friend, thank you so much for joining us on the Jump Podcast. All right, everybody, listen, if you're at that point, you need some help, call him, give him an email, say, hey, this is where I am. Maybe he's got the fantastic book for you to help you get to that edge and jump. You never know, but reach out. Thank you for watching, everybody. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next time. Have a good one, everyone.
Has come to an end, but the fun doesn't have to stop here. If you have any questions, suggestions, or feedback, head over right now to Twitter and Facebook and like, share, and get involved. Join us next time.
Please be advised that the